Hello everyone, welcome back to my English podcast, the podcast on world news, self-development, language learning, or whatever I have learned over the past week. My name is Huaimi, but you can call me Jessica. In this episode number 4, I'm going to talk about massive oil spill off California coast, using drones to deliver posts to remote Scottish islands. Facebook went down and then blamed faulty configuration change for outages. Facebook faces allegations that it chooses profit over safety. And in the bonus lesson today, we're going to discuss how to stop comparing ourselves with other people when using social media. Okay, let's get the show on the road. A 13 square mile oil spill off the coast of Southern California in the US forced the closure of a pipeline and prompted officials to close beaches and warn of an ecological disaster since Sunday last week. According to NBC News, 144,000 gallons of heavy crude leaked into the Pacific Ocean on Sunday, affecting 25 miles of coastline in Orange County from Dana Point to Huntington Beach. When did it happen? Well, Amplify Energy, which owns a subsidiary Beta.4 that operates that pipeline, was alerted to a low-pressure alarm that indicated a possible failure at 2:30 a.m. Saturday last week. But the pipeline was only shut down more than 3 hours later, and after 3 more hours later, Beta.4 reported the leak to the Federal National Response Center. The Coast Guard has been racing to clean up the leak to prevent an ecological disaster. One expert said, "When this thick, goopy oil gets into these wetlands, it's impossible to clean up entirely. The oil created a miles-wide sheen in the ocean and washed ashore in sticky black globules." About 3,150 gallons of oil have been recovered from the water, but the toll on the local ecosystem was already evident. Fisheries in the affected area were closed to give time to investigate any impacts to fish. Newport Harbor was also closed to prevent oil from entering the harbor. Marshes were closed to prevent contaminated salt water from seeping in. Irreparable damage has already been done, as we've seen a bunch of oiled, dead birds and fish washing up on the shore. On Sunday, a brown pelican and 2 other birds were recovered alive. Investigation into why this incident occurred is ongoing. The relevant authorities have been looking into if it could have been a ship's anchor that had struck that pipeline, but that's still in assessment phase. According to NBC News, anchor strikes are not uncommon, and with the current vessel backlog in San Pedro Bay, everything seems to have lined up to be a vessel anchor strike. Members of the Huntington Beach Wetlands Conservancy said were devastated. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears over 35 years to keep these marshes as pristine as we can. And all that work can be ruined in the blink of an eye. Other researchers added, the oil spill should be an urgent wake-up call about the needs for California and the rest of the country to make the transition away from the fossil fuel industry. Oil drilling and oil extraction is a dirty, dangerous business. There's never been a solar power spill. We need to move as fast as we can away from dependence on oil to a clean energy future. There are an awful lot of ways to protect the environment, and one of them is using drones to deliver posts. Drones are being trialed by Royal Mail in Scotland to deliver posts to remote islands and reduce carbon emissions. The 2-week trial began on Monday from Kirkwall to North Ronusay in the Orkney Islands of North Scotland. And how can this work? Actually, the mail is being carried by a large unmanned aerial vehicle, for short UAV, named Otter. It can transport 100 kilograms of various types of post to the island, which is then delivered as normal by local postal workers when it reaches the northern island. Rich London, Chief Commercial Officer at Royal Mail, said, "This trial is designed to help with both of these goals, using the most innovative technologies to support the remote and isolated communities we serve in the greenest way possible. If the trial's outcome is successful, drones could be more widely considered by Royal Mail to support postal workers delivering to remote areas across the UK and to reduce carbon emissions." This is the Royal Mail's third drone trial in the last year, with one in December 2020, delivering post to the Isle of Mull in Scotland, and the other in May 2021, delivering to the Isles of Scilly off the coast of Cornwall. The next news is going to be about Facebook. All three platforms, including Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook, owned and operated by Facebook company based in California, went out of service at around 11:39 a.m. Monday local time for more than 6 hours, affecting billions of users around the world. And by around 6 p.m., the users of these platforms reported that some service was restored. Then late Monday, Facebook explained and apologized for a massive outage that knocked out service and said there was no malicious activity behind it, and they blamed a change of its system that basically knocked out communications to its data centers, which led to a ripple effect. A WhatsApp employee said no internal services at the company headquarters worked except for email and calendars. Even conference rooms were inaccessible during the outage because they're digitally locked and unlocked through an internet-connected tablet. The company said no user data had been compromised in the blackout. The outage comes a day after Facebook faced allegations from a whistleblower, a former Facebook data scientist named Francis Haugen, that it had turned a blind eye to disinformation that led to the deadly January 6th riot at the US Capitol. Facebook over and over again has shown it chooses profit over safety, she said. According to her testimony, Facebook is misleading the public, promoting hateful and harmful content, holding its CEO to account. She left the company in May with thousands of internal documents, including some she says the company knows that Instagram app can contribute to eating disorders in teen girls, a characterization Facebook has disputed. She described it like this: "It's like cigarettes. Teenagers don't have a good self-regulation." And they said, "I feel bad when using Instagram, but I can't stop. We need to protect the kids." A teenage girl said, "When we're looking at all of these models and influencers, they're very skinny and have a perfect body, and when you're looking at that and kind of comparing yourself to it, I think it could be very damaging." What about Facebook's reaction? They said she is only a former employee who didn't work on these issues and was at the company for a couple of years, mischaracterizing some documents that she stole. They said their strategy is to make sure that they are giving people accurate information about what they're doing, and that Facebook has been calling for regulation for more than 2.5 years so far. According to Congress, some changes should be made are releasing internal research to outside parties, stronger federal oversight that demands transparency from big tech, sharing their proprietary algorithm with regulators. But ultimately, I think For teenagers who always feel insecure when using social media, it's a matter of controlling your own actions. You cannot say that cigarettes are being sold, which is the reason why you keep smoking, even you know it's harmful to your health. You need to be responsible for your choice and actions. You can choose to use Instagram or uninstall it, right? Because it's in your hands, the cell phones. And above all, I think these kids should be educated in schools about mental health, how to control their emotions and detach themselves from the outside world. Stop comparing themselves with other people when using social media. And that's also what I'm going to talk about in the bonus lesson today. Let's begin with the question, where does comparison come from? Comparison can stem from our parents, the school system, or the society. Parents usually want us to be better than other kids, maybe in the neighborhood. In school, teachers always give us tasks and evaluate our efforts by marks. So we always tend to compare our results with other students. In society, when surfing social media, we can see, perfection on our feeds almost on a daily basis, where, people tend to post their highlights, their achievements, and their best selves online. That causes us to feel less than, feel not good enough, not worthy, not helpful, and more insecure. But what we need to do is, first stop, becoming aware of why we keep comparing ourselves with other people, why we do this, and how to stop doing it. When we see, perfect photos on social media, and then we look at ourselves and think, what am I doing with myself? But comparison is the thief of joy, and I think it's not a fair comparison at all, because we're a unique person. Each person has their own unique life. For people who have a strong sense of self-worth and high self-esteem, comparison can be helpful because it helps inspire, motivate us to become a better version of ourselves. We need to know the differences when comparison is helpful and when it becomes something that hurts yourself. So it boils down to our self-worth. What we need to do is to work on ourselves, to have a stronger self-worth. And to become stronger, you need to believe in yourself and realize that we're living in a community. We can help each other grow and become the better version of ourselves. Because, it's a community, it's not a competition. You should only compare yourself with your older self to see what you need to improve, what we can learn from the older version of ourselves, and then set boundaries for yourself to preserve your mental health. For example, unfollow any accounts that have a negative impact on your life and your mental health, or just uninstall some of the social media apps that don't bring any benefits to your self-development. Like I said before, everything is in our hands, our cell phones. We can control it. So some of the exercises that I learned from Eileen from Lavender YouTube channel in order to tackle this kind of problem are: first off, be aware of our negative thoughts and write them down and know what triggers your thoughts. And then we need to make a change by replacing all of our negative thoughts with positive ones. For example, if you think you're not confident, then you need to replace that thought with this: I'm confident now, I'm enough, something like that. And repeat it by speaking or writing those kind of positive affirmations every day, maybe before going to bed or after waking up in the morning. And gradually, you are going to incorporate it into your daily routine. And when it comes to building a habit, I think the keys are repetition and consistency. So the next time you catch yourself comparing yourself to others, remember this: a flower does not think about competing with the flower next to it. A flower just blooms. Okay, that also brings this episode to an end. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. If you have any questions, ideas, or comments, please comment down in the comment box below. And if you like this video, please click like and share, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Thank you for the privilege of your time. Please take care of yourself and each other. Okay, goodbye for now and see you next Sunday.